Sairam. So Friday we didn't have satsang. Let this Ashtavakra Gita verse 18 pour come as a mini satsang for you on Friday. Sakaram antaram vidhi anrutam vidhi nirakaratu nishchalam etat Tatwa upadeshena na punarbhava sambhava. Anrutam. Know that which appears as a form to be false and the formless to be changeless. Through this spiritual instruction, you shall escape or cease the possibility of rebirth. Anritam literally means a lie, a deception, or that which is false or unreal. It is used here in reference to the body or the embodied self, that is Jiva. Every living being has a form, it has a beginning and an end, and it is subject to aging, sickness, decay, death. We know 6 transformation which takes place. 5 existence after that 5. Everything that appears also disappears. It is born and it dies. And as long as I feel that I am any of these, with the baggage of my karma, I will continue to be born again and again, die again and reborn again, and the cycle will continue, and I will never ever be able to escape this cycle of birth and death. By body, by now we know that we mean 3 bodies: gross, subtle and causal. And in the earlier 2-3 verses, Nirvana Shatakam, out of the 6, all the inner instruments, all the external instruments, all the gross, the entire gross body, when we said Nacha Shrotra Jive, Nacha Grahana Netre, all the external and all the subtle body, Mano Buddhyahankara Chittanina, all those were negated, and it was explained that they are all unreal and I am not any one of them. Whereas when we came to the 6th or the 7th, especially the 7th session, with the pot and the clay analogy, we understood very clearly that the pot, that is form, in with reference to the verse which we are dealing now, can neither said to be totally existing nor said to be totally non-existing. So we deciphered that it is something beyond existence and non-existence, and we also concluded that the reality of the pot lies somewhere else. And then ultimately we concluded that the pot is as much Chit, wholly Chit. As much is a wrong expression. Wholly Chit. Pot is Chit, clay is Chit, time is Chit, space is Chit, subject is Chit, object is Chit, everything is Chit. Then we went on to explain the Ananda and then concluded with the Chidananda Rupa. Now a question may arise. Do I believe all forms to be real, unreal, only self to be real, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, and start the journey, or I start with the conviction that Chidananda Rupa Shivoham? There is no difference between subject-object. How do I start my journey? Master has explained me both. Shrutis explained me both. All Shankara's Granthas, further treatises explain both. They explain both the ephemeral nature of the body, form, and as well as the eternal existence of the self. So, where do I start? With what conviction do I start? Which I can hold on to in my spiritual journey. If we saw when we were going through the first Nirvana Shatakam session that 23.5 hours of perceiving ourselves as with our body, for half an hour when we sit and meditate on Brahman, formless, Nirakara, Nirguna, it is not possible because Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavati. Whatever I think I am in the 23.5 hours, I cannot go beyond that in mere half an hour. Then we get restless, then we don't get the experience in meditation, then we get frustrated and ultimately leave the meditation and go back to the world of bodies. For most of the spiritual seekers, it is extremely difficult till they reach a very advanced stage in the path of their spiritual journey, especially in Vedanta. Getting all the Vedanta teachings from someone whom they really believe to be their chosen preceptor, alive or not alive, it doesn't matter. And getting convinced that there is no duality between the form and the formless. There is no need to condemn their body or form or even condemn the creation with all forms as mithya. All this is very, very difficult. Because howsoever they think that they are convinced about this non-duality between form and formless, or they are convinced about the eternal nature of self, changeless self, which can never undergo any rebirth. The moment after getting up, they set out in the world, the individual ego crops up, and at that moment, their forms, their own form, others' forms, all objects with forms, entire creation of forms are clearly perceived, and all actions are undertaken accordingly. So, given this state, the spiritual journey must start with the conviction that Jagat is mithya. The entire creation with all forms is unreal, an illusion, anrutam, deceptive. And exactly that is what Nirvana Shatakam has done for us. But there is a hidden beauty which you may not have thought of till the time he is going to say it now. We watch movies, sensible movies, he means, not the nonsense movies, where though many things might be happening in the movie, but ultimately, if there is a sad ending, then that melancholy, that part, that will be there in the BGM of the entire movie. Okay, why he is telling this, you will understand in couple of minutes. There is an old movie where the hero is not able to be with his chosen woman with whom he had united, and then later on, due to some compulsions, he marries somebody, and throughout the movie, one of the best actors that he is, he carries that feeling of guilt conscience throughout the movie, in all the actions. Why he is telling all these things? Now let us jump directly from the unreal movie to the artificial movie to the Nirvana Shataka, straight, taking this reference. While the initial 4-5 verses all describe about all netis, till the time we reach Aham Nirvikalpo Nirakara Rupa. Like the hero carries on that guilt conscience expression throughout, every verse out of the 6 verses, every verse ends with the last line, which is the theme, which is the climax of the Nirvana Shataka, which is the climax of any Vedanta scripture, which is the secret, which is the truth of any Vedanta scriptures. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivo. Even while saying that Mano Buddhyahankara Chittani Naha Nahi Na Naham Naiva Na Neti, but the theme it carries along throughout in the earlier 5 verses also. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivo. When ultimately it is when one attains self-realization, even one reaches a very advanced stage, a penultimate stage in self-realization, through Maranam and Nididhyasanam, on all the Upanishad teachings, one is able to transcend the limitation of all forms, including his own form, and live every moment in the inward conviction, and later upon realization in the Sahaja Sthiti, that where there is no individual ego to perceive his identity with form. And accordingly, when he cannot perceive his form at all, how can he perceive the other forms in the creation? In that absolute state, there is no plurality possible for the seer. Not only that he transcends form and exists as absolute self, he also mystically, miraculously graces the creation with his absolute state. And hence, there is no form, there is no duality, there is no plurality in the creation as well. His state is absolute self. The entire creation has been blessed by him with that same absolute state. Again, the same expression comes true here. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. At the absolute state, neither his state is changing, nor his experience, so-called experience of this ever-changing creation is having any change. So, the expression in this verse comes true at this state, Nishchalam, changeless and hence no rebirth. Nirakara expression has to be properly understood in the context of a seer who has realized self. Nirakara is not that he 24/7, top to bottom, completely he exists formless only, and the creation exists as formless only, always. Then what is Nirakara expression in the context of a realized seer, a Jivan Mukta? He carries a magical, mystical capacity with him about which he neither deliberates nor is he aware of it, because it is the Sahaja Sthiti, it is the Sahaja, his spontaneous state. He abides in that state. Nirakara, what is this? His body-mind intellect effectively deals, if he has not become an avadhuta, if he has not secluded himself from the society, if he is a grahastha, or even if he is an sadhu running an ashram where lot visitors are there, his disciples are there, activities are there. Or when we take the case of, say, Amba, where she runs an university, she runs an hospital, everything. His body-mind intellect very effectively deals with the body-mind intellect of all others in the creation, or few others in the creation with whom it has to interact in its performance of Loka Kalyana. The form that deals with forms effortlessly, but the inner self that he exists as is Chidananda Rupa. Absolutely no association with either his BMI nor the BMI of all others with whom this BMI is acting. No reacting, acting. Guruji, easy to say. How to really know that the self of a seer has no connection with BMI, whether his own or the world's? What is the proof? Logical mind, rational mind, intellectual mind needs proof for everything. For everything, with only one exception. It accepts its parents as they are. It doesn't challenge them. The day should not come when a son asks a mother, prove to me that you are my mother. That will be the peak of the Kali Yuga. Let that day never come in this creation. So we need proof. How you can say that he, one who has reached, realized self, has no association with the BMI Nirakara? He doesn't have to go anywhere else, here and there, and search for the books and the treatises of the commentaries. With all humility, with prostrations and with all humility, he can spell it out with his own inner state of experience, inner Sahaja Sthiti. You cannot imagine what all challenges he is going through when it comes to form. And it is not okay to share it with anybody for the sake of sympathy. He shares with one or two or three when he is sure that it will motivate them to rush towards that state. Okay. So, while the BMI of a seer, a sadhaka turned seer, it is getting good, excellent, bad, very bad, worst, very worst, unimaginably bad, unimaginably worst reactions. Note the expression, he is not acting, the world is reacting. From the world's BMI, he is getting all the reactions during his minimum required interaction with the BMI of the world. All those reactions, he has to be crude and he has to be very plain in telling this expression, using this expression, not crude, very plain, that all those interactions, all those reactions of the world hell-bent upon torturing, tormenting and spoiling the inner peace of a sadhaka turned seer. All those reactions of the world's BMI, so-called BMI, it is all those reactions, all those forms with all the reactions, they are but napumsakas, they are all but impotent as far as creating any vibration, any movement, any disturbance in the Ananda Prapti, which has eternally been discovered within as a result of the Aparoksha Anubhuti, Dukkha Nivritti and Ananda Prapti. If one is able to exist thus unmoved by any experience, so-called, he has no experience as such, any of the reactions of the world with all the forms, this is the one proof. One will know, one may deceive the entire world, one may say it out or not say it out, but within, that is what Antaratman conscience is. One will know when one is able to exist unmoved 24/7. Even when the BMI is getting all those reactions of the world of forms, when that all those things are totally rendered like roasted seeds, he told in the context of Sanchita Karma, they are totally impotent, totally useless in bringing about any change in the state, Chidananda Rupa state in which he exists as. Then, though his form exists, though his form interacts with the world, though the world with all the forms fetches, so-called tries to fetch so many experience to his form, still you can say he exists miraculously as Chidananda Rupa, Nirakara. Though apparently Sakara, still he exists Nirakara. Hence, his existence is changeless and causeless, and then a changeless existence of self cannot fetch him a rebirth, because self is mrityorma amritam kamaya. Self is deathless because it has never been born to die. The body is born to die. Hope this serves as a satsang by itself to carry you through. For Friday, Saturday, this week, he is traveling, and next week, mostly next Friday, we will see in this session, first session on the wonderful Moksha Gita. Love.